welcome to Parallax, where we look at life from how we work. Joining us today is John Lemonds. John is a business owner and a computer IT consultant with Supportech MD. John, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Can you talk a little bit about what a typical day looks like for you?
A typical day for us, we support a variety of small businesses around the Baltimore area, so it can really range depending on the environment that's occurring, meaning sometimes there'll be a slew of storms will come through and surges can knock out clients' equipment, so we might have to respond very quickly. We might wake up in the morning and think our morning is free, and before we know it, we've got to be out on the road and on site within an hour. Other than that, we'll generally do a lot of remote support, as well as planning for new systems, new initiatives for our clients as well to help them get over some type of perceived need or deficiency in their existing systems.
How did you become interested in doing this?
I actually started out in life as a photographer, and as I was studying in photography and working full-time in a lab, we started looking towards digital imaging back in the late 90s when it started kind of to come to its fruition. And I helped implement some of the technologies there. We mostly did Macs and scanners and stuff like that for digital retouching. But as the hardware itself started to break down, I kind of had a knack for getting it back up and running. And I kind of saw the writing on the wall as far as where photography was going. A lot of photographers in the area were going out of business and losing their ability to make a living at it because the cameras are so much better now, the exposures and come out properly, they can focus. You know, long gone are the days of the disc camera and the Kodak Brownie, so to speak. So I started studying some classes, doing what they call boot camps to study networking, and that's what the businesses use to tie all their servers and their data, you know, together with the end users. So once I studied that, I started doing some free installations at like churches around the area and stuff like that to get some experience, and then went into the workforce.
So what is a typical client then for you?
Yeah, it depends. Some of our clients are smaller companies where it's just not economically viable for them to have a full-time IT person. So we'll be their on-call IT support staff. We also do what's known as managed services, which means we put little pieces of software that monitors their systems on their computers and tells us, hey, this hard drive is failing. Let's go ahead and proactively order a replacement for it and get it out of there before it becomes a problem for the users, even though they may not have noticed it yet. Then we also have some clients that are larger in size that do have their own IT department, but they may be able to handle the general day-to-day stuff, but when it comes to implementing new technologies, new security features, new servers, whole office wireless systems, things like that, they'll outsource to us and we'll come and assist them on that, and we'll work hand in hand with them to find what meets their budget and their needs.
So in the course of your job, is there certain technologies that you have a preference for? Or do you take on a new customer and you find out that they're running this OS and you're like, oh man, this is going to be a headache, this is going to be a nightmare?
Sometimes, yeah. We can pretty much work with any OS they do have. We work with both Linux, Mac, and PC world, so we can integrate them all so they can communicate and share data. The Unix and Linux flavors tend to be a lot more secure. They were implemented by the government many years before Windows was really anything besides a personal computing experience, so there's a lot more history between them hardening or securing the kernel of those operating systems. So from a security standpoint, those tend to be the best. And in fact, a lot of the firewalls we use for securing our Windows networks run on a Linux or Unix base.
Mm-hmm. Now, I noticed that you used a couple of jargon words, but then you also explained them as you said that. How do you, I'm sure that the world of technology is full of technical language that relates to it. So how do you relate that to a client without making them feel like you're...
Yeah, it's a balance to try and not sound, you know, like you're talking down to them or you're trying to talk to a 3-year-old to explain something to them. So I try and generally, if I understand where their background comes from, I can use something to explain it to them that they might understand. So when I go to talk to the truck driver at the concrete factory, I might say, oh yeah, you know, your processor's really overworked, and I'll see a little glazed look in their eye, and I'll say, it's kind of like you're trying to haul your boat with a 4-cylinder, you know, and they'll be like, oh, okay, it's underpowered. Yeah, exactly. So you start to learn different ways to speak to people in a language that they understand, because I understand as well that they could talk their jargon to me and I would get that very same glazed look in my eyes. So some people in IT tend to be a little bit snobbish about that and think that, I know everything and everybody else is an idiot, but it's really not the case. It's really, everybody has their own focus and their special abilities, and you have to understand that and not be a jerk.
John, thanks so much for coming out and talking with us. You can find out more about Supportech MD at supportechmd.com. And until next time, keep it between the white line and the ditches.